Chapter 1. Torah, Torah, Torah. Before we get started on this journey, we need to agree on a few things. There are certain parameters which we should agree upon in order to present the information in a standard that reflects Yahweh's commands for worship. By us establishing a foundation that everyone is willing to adopt, we'll be able to destroy the lies and tear down traditions and strongholds. First of all, we know that the word of Yahweh will not return to him void. Isaiah 55:11. So is my word that does forth from my mouth. It does not return to me empty, but shall do what I please, and shall certainly accomplish what I sent it for. It's the truth, and it's not burdensome. His word must be easy enough for parents to teach their children, so that by that standard, it should be easy enough for anyone to understand. The problem exists in thinking we know the meaning of a particular word in our modern context, not from the people that lived in a different time and civilization. In the scriptures, as with any cultural writings, context has meaning, and it's extremely important. Remember, Proverbs tells us that our pride will lead us to disgrace, but with humility will come wisdom. Proverbs 11:2. Pride comes, then comes shame, but with the humble is wisdom. Therefore, we ask that you suspend all your knowledge and all your beliefs about what you have been taught about these four words: day, month, year, and calendar. If only for this study, you must be willing to accept that the meanings of these words are taken from what we observe in today's sky, not what was happening in the beginning. Their current definitions must be eliminated and should be rebuilt so they correspond to Yahweh's words in Torah, his words, not ours. In this study, we will show you how and when the Israelites picked up this pagan tradition of day reckoning. It will also be shown through Yahweh's words that the day starts in the morning, not in the evening. This is paramount to the entire study, for without the right beginning, no calendar, or count for that matter, will be correct. We are to count our days, not nights. Psalms 90:12. So teach us to remember our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. We live mostly by the Gregorian calendar, which starts a new day at midnight. Many of us in the Hebrew Roots movement use the Jewish day start, which is set at dusk, or Reb, which is evening. But what if we discover that the day begins at dawn, and the first light of the day, and does not commence in the evening, or midnight for that matter? What would be the implications? 2. Year. We will present archeological evidence showing the 365.25 day year we experience today was not what was originally given to Adam, Noah, Joseph, or Moses. It appears that the greatest king in Scripture, and his decision on which direction the shadow would fall on the steps, is the linchpin to this miracle. One that can be witnessed today when the year count is done properly. The miracle is missed entirely if you try to apply the moon, sun, or stars for the calendar. In this study, we present what we believe to be the most accurate method to start each year, the very one that Yahweh created in the beginning. When does the year begin, and is there something that marks its start? How long is a year? Is it counted by lunation cycle of the moon, or is it counted by the solar cycle of the sun, or neither? How is a quarter day counted without a minute and second timepiece? In this study, we will allow scriptures to reveal the answers to these and other questions regarding the year. 3. Month, or what we'd like to call a month. The reader will see, through the alphabet and the Hebrew language, how by implication we have adopted the word that describes a 30-day count, or Kodesh, H2320, from the word that refers to the moon and its lunation cycle. It was given a definition of an ordinance it was never designed to do. You will see how this word, month, and its celestial orb, moon, was inserted into the lexicon to mean something it cannot possibly mean, and to do a job of counting that it was never designed for. We all know that our Creator is perfect and precise, so why do we use the celestial bodies and the traditions of man to mark Yahweh's holy feasts? The answer to this question, and more, will be revealed when we get to the meat of this study. Finally, the last stronghold word we will challenge is 4. Calendar. After all, it's the reason you are reading this study. Together we will explore the history of this word and expose one of the greatest religious conspiracies since the Council of Nicene. Would you be surprised to find out that the word calendar is not used in the book of the law, but instead a count of days and years? Genesis 1:14. And Elohim said, "Let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from night, and let them be for signs and appointed times, and for days and years." 1 Chronicles 23:31. And to offer all burnt sacrifices unto Yahweh in the Sabbaths, in the Kodesh, new moons, and on set feasts, by number, according to the order command unto them, continually before Yahweh. Psalms 90:12. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. As you see by the above list, some basic definitions will be challenged and rewritten. That's why the next set of rules is so important, because we don't want you to increase your bookshelves with commentaries about the scriptures. We want you to hear from the scriptures themselves. By the end of this study, you'll hold a new set of definitions that will help you navigate the Torah's commands concerning the appointed times of Yahweh. Additionally, while conducting research for this study, many extra-biblical texts were considered, from the letters of Josephus to the Dead Sea Scrolls, searching for the true calendar given to us by Yahweh in the beginning. Much to our chagrin, the answers were found in the first 2 books of the Bible. That is why we believe, like in real estate, there are only 3 things that you need for any Bible study: Torah, Torah, Torah. With that being said, we have set forward 7 precepts for understanding Yahweh's word. 1. All scripture, including the Tanakh, New Testament, and extra-biblical text, must align with Torah. We recognize his words written by Moses were given face to face. In Exodus 33:11, then Yahweh spoke to Moshe face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and he would return to the camp, but his servant, Yehoshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent. And no other prophet had this relationship with Yahweh. Deuteronomy 34:10. And since then no prophet has arisen in Israel like Moshe, whom Yahweh knew face to face. Therefore the first 5 books must be given supremacy as the first and final word of Yahweh. Isaiah 8:20. To the Torah and to the witnesses, if they do not speak according to this word, it is because they have no daybreak or light. 2. No additions or subtractions from the Torah by any leader or prophet. Deuteronomy 4:2. Do not add to the word which I command you, and do not take away from it, so as to guard the commands of Yahweh your Elohim, which I am commanding you. There are dire consequences for false words spoken in Yahweh's name, and for signs and wonders concerning other gods. Deuteronomy 13:1-4. When there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he shall give you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder shall come true, of which he has spoken to you, saying, Let us go after other mighty ones, which you have not known, and serve them. Do not listen to the words of the prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your Elohim is trying you, to know whether you love Yahweh your Elohim with all of your heart and all of your being. Walk after Yahweh your Elohim and fear him, and guard his commands and obey his voice, and serve him and cling to him. We will see these other gods, the stars, sun, and moon, were right above our heads and hiding under our noses the whole time. 3. Repetition in Scripture is important and relevant when reading the Word. Early in Genesis, in Joseph's and Pharaoh's time, we see the importance of dreams by the repetition of the storytelling. Genesis 41:32. And the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice, because the word is established by Elohim, and Elohim is hastening to do it. When you read about the same event being told in the Bible twice, you innately understand the story demands extra attention. Like in the New Testament, we see the words verily, verily repeated before a statement, which signifies the importance of the statement to come. Did you know that there is only one story that is repeated 3 times in the Old Testament? The story is told over 3 different books. We will explore that message, and why it is so important for our understanding of Yahweh's daily count. 4. There is no progressive or inferred commands in the Torah. The Torah represents our Creator, perfect, complete, truthful, and without guile. There are no hidden laws exposed after Mount Sinai. The end has been declared from the beginning. Isaiah 46, 9-10. Remember the former things of old, for I am El, and there is no one else. I am Yahweh, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet come, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Do you remember the feeling you had when you discovered the feasts of Yahweh were intact, and churchianity had stripped them from you? Those feasts are still valid and expected, yet we have mistakenly accepted many traditions steeped in the Mishnah or Talmud. Deuteronomy 31, 3-13. Yahweh your Elohim himself is passing over before you. He shall destroy these nations from before you, and you possess them. Yahweh himself is passing over before you, as Yahweh has spoken. And Yahweh shall do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the sovereigns of the Amorites and their land, when he destroyed them. And Yahweh shall give them over to you, and you shall do to them according to all the commands which I have commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them. For it is Yahweh your Elohim is going with you. He does not fail you, nor forsake you. And Moshe called Yehoshua, and said to him before the eyes of all Yisrael, Be strong and courageous, for you are going with the people to the land which Yahweh has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you are to let them inherit it. And it is Yahweh who is going before you. He himself is with you. He does not fail you nor mistake you. Do not fear nor be discouraged. And Moshe wrote this Torah and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and to all the elders of Israel. And Moshe commanded them, saying, At the end of 7 years, at the appointed time, the time of release, at the festival of Sukkot, when all of Israel comes to appear before Yahweh your Elohim in the place which he chooses, read this Torah before all Israel in the hearing. Assemble the people, the men and the women and the little ones, and your sojourners within your gates, so that they hear and so that they learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim and guard to do all the words of this Torah. And their children, who have not known it, should hear and learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim as long as you live in the land you are passing over to Yarden to possess. 5. Scripture must define Scripture. Not only are we dealing with a remote history, but also many distant cultural differences. We strive for nobility as students and search the Scriptures that every scribe, prophet, king, priest, and disciple read before us. Acts 17:11. Now these were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with great eagerness, and searched the Scriptures daily, if these words were so. Those Scriptures being Torah. These are the words that we as parents are to teach our children. Deuteronomy 6, 6 and 7. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit at your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. Wouldn't it be wise to let those words speak for themselves and not allow misunderstood words and phrases become the reason for our disobedience? There are times when we abandon the implied meanings and search each letter of the word for their definitions. With the Hebrew language, it can be done with a simple chart that is included in this study. 6. Transliteration versus translation. The Aaronic blessing is the best example of how the richness of the Hebrew language and its meaning is lost in translation. Numbers 6:24-26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Here is the transliteration of the Aaronic blessing from Jeff Brenner at the Ancient Hebrew Research Center. Yahweh will kneel before you, presenting gifts, and will guard you with a hedge of protection. Yahweh will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward you, bringing order, and he will give you comfort and sustenance. Yahweh will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon you, and he will set in place all you need to be whole and complete. Hebrew is not only a phonetic language, but every letter also has pictorial and numerical meaning. During this study, many verses and words were broken down line by line, letter by letter, and precept by precept to achieve a better understanding. Isaiah 28:10. For it is, precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Additionally, we go forth with a warning from Jeremiah about the pen of the scribes being vain, which apply to all of the scholars and teachers who have come since. Jeremiah 8:8. How do you say, we are wise, and the Torah of Yahweh is with us, but look, the false pen of the scribe has worked falsehood? It will be shown how implicated meanings have worked their way into our vernacular since the Bible and its commentaries were written. 7. Tradition, through all generations, runs deep. We must recognize that syncretism and tradition is religion. The Old Testament warns the children of Israel over 800 times about worshiping the sun and moon gods of the pagans. Deuteronomy 12:2-5. Completely destroy all the places where the nations which you are dispossessing served their mighty ones, on the high mountains, and on the hills, and under every green tree. And you shall break down their slaughter places, and smash their pillars, and burn their Asherim with fire. You shall cut down the carved images of the mighty ones, and shall destroy their name out of that place. Do not do so to Yahweh your Elohim, but seek the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses out of all of your tribes to put his name there, for his dwelling place, and there you shall enter. Deuteronomy 12:29-30. When Yahweh your Elohim does cut off from before you the nations which you go to dispossess, and you dispossess them and dwell in their land, guard yourself that you are not ensnared to follow them, after they are destroyed from before you, and that you do not inquire about their mighty ones, saying, how did these nations serve their mighty ones? And let me do so too. Jeremiah 10:2-3. Thus saith Yahweh, do not learn the way of the nations, and do not be awed by the signs of the heavens, for the nations are awed by them. For the laws of these peoples are worthless, for one cuts a tree from the forest, work for the hands of the craftsman with a cutting tool. The Israelites were steeped in tradition from the surrounding pagan cultures. It was this syncretism which made the people build a golden calf to worship in the name of Yahweh. As we came out of the Sunday church, most of us recognized the pagan-based rituals that we had participated in, and without the thought as to what was commanded in the Torah. In the Tanakh, we read that before Israel was taken into captivity, they adopted many pagan rituals that, when they were removed, the enemies of Israel had thought that they had surely angered their God. This brings us to our final thought before we begin to unravel Yahweh's count of days. We must prepare for a second spiritual exodus. Many of us have left the Christian church because of the lies that were exposed when we sat down with the scriptures and read them for ourselves. We felt cheated, lied to, and for some, abused at how far the church had taken us away from Yahweh's original plan. Our foundation was snatched away, and we felt the sand diffusing under the weight of our questions and despair. Who do you turn to when the book and language you relied on all those years turns out to be false? Well, the Jews, of course. Zechariah tells us, Zechariah 8:23, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, in those days 10 men from all languages of the nations take hold, yes, they shall take hold of the edge of the garment of a man, a Yehudai, saying, Let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. So it would seem to make sense that we go to Brother Judah with all of our questions, right? That was our path also, and we soon found that Judah had the same problems with traditions and syncretism that Christianity did. For us to truly hear what Yahweh was saying, we had to go directly to his word. When we did, it was soon apparent that the road is narrow, and on either side is a deep ditch. On one side, the ditch contained Christendom, and all its vain trappings about chasing other gods that our fathers knew not. The other side was that of Judaism, containing its traditions from the Mishnah and the Talmud, which were foreign to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For us, it was time to ditch the ditches and get back to the narrow road. We needed to rely on the only teacher that can be trusted, the Torah. Psalms 119 is the longest chapter in the scripture for a reason, and that reason is Torah. We ask with a prayerful heart that you will seek only one teacher in this study, Yahweh, through His Word and His Torah. Once you discover how to let Him teach you, by utilizing simple tools, you'll be able to discern counterfeit calendars and learn to read scriptures with pristine glasses.